it's something I thought about after I played Tarkov. When I was playing Tarkov, I made the realization that playing it is that while I understand what they were going for in regards to trying to be super realistic, like
super realistic.
You take a magazine out, there's still bullets left in it. You don't magically get the bullets back when you put the next mag in. You have to load mag individually.
It's hardcore, bro.
It's hardcore. When you search a bag, it takes time to search the bag. You have to know the items. Like there's a lot going on. Is that there's a point in some of the Tarkov systems where I feel like it's just redundant and there for the sake of being there to like make it look like it's or to make it feel more realistic. Like for example, identifying items. You can just go into the traders and identify every item that the traders have instead of doing it in the field. And so it like defeats the purpose. Like it's supposed to be like one of those things where it's like in the field, you're identifying the item because you don't know really what it is up front. It's supposed to be those things where it's like, oh, you pulled something out of this guy's pocket.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, what the fuck is this before you put it in your bag?
It's like, which Pokemon is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Which Pokemon?
Except you go to the fucking the dealers in between raids. And you go in there, and they're all the fucking items are there, and you just like you identify all of them.
You can see the shape of Pikachu,
yeah, you're like,
but it's blacked out. You're like, I know it's Pikachu.
Yeah, like there's.
You look at it, Pikachu.
Surprise! It's Voltorb wearing a Pikachu hat.
Snorlax.
So there's stuff like that. So the question I wanted to just pose here is, especially with stuff like Red Dead Redemption 2. Where it's also a lot of stuff like you're skinning an animal and you got to watch that fucking 45-second animation every time you skin an animal, but you have to do skinning an animal a lot. Or like you're eating your fucking food because you have to maintain your health in the game or the water intake. Basically, you're living like a fucking another life in a video game.
It's a simulation.
Is at what point does that stop being gamification and just becomes a chore? And are we getting in a lot, because it's becoming more and more prevalent, are we getting too far away from what games are supposed to be in the effort to just make everything feel super realistic? Or is it just a case of it's not for everyone, but it's there if you want to have it?
Well, the short answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
It's not everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's very...
Well, it seems to be very specific to certain genres.
Yeah, of course.
Specifically the action, adventure, and role-playing.
Yeah. But, a game like Red Dead, they want you to be immersed in that. It's a slow-paced way of living. It's a slow-paced time.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't Grand Theft Auto, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have those things. Like when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out...
in San Andreas where you had to eat and drink and everything to maintain yourself
you still
and
have
work
to,
out.
Yeah, you still have to do that in Grand Theft Auto 5, but I mean, it's as simple as grabbing a burger and it takes 3 seconds to eat the animation and you're...
Which for me poses the question, why?
Well, I mean, you want to eat,
why am I going out of my way for a 3-second animation just so that I don't pass out? But if it only costs $3 and I've got $400,000 in the bank, like there's no mechanic that's like I'm not fighting for like anything.
Yeah, I think games like Tarkov lend themselves to that painstakingly long process over and over and over again. It adds to the level of stakes involved.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it so the player is spending more time in the game and actually playing the game longer. It's an event when you play Tarkov. And it's one of the reasons why I don't play Tarkov, because it's not a casual shooter where you just go in and you play Apex for 2 or 3 hours and you get that satisfaction and you're gone. Like you said, at the end of your thing is you got $100,000 weapon. And, now you've got decisions to make, and you've got, do you sell the stuff? Do you take it out on your next run? There's a lot that goes on in that game, and I think the painstakingly long shit that you do in that adds to the realism of it. It adds to, you got to go, here's the thing. For a game like Tarkov, you got to go all the way. You got to go all the way. You can't go halfway. You can't have a super hard game, but have it have the instant gratification of Call of Duty. You want to remove that noise because they already do what you do better.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just try and mimic and you're trying to bring in a crowd, chances are you're not going to do it better than the last ones. They're going to have you beat, and the people are just going to go back to what they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Create a whole new experience. And to some people, it's not going to be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Dark Souls. To some people, it's like, bro, ain't nobody got time for that. I do not want to deal with it under any circumstance. And I think that's what Tarkov does well. It's not a free-to-play game.
Mm-hmm.
Costs money to go in there, and then you have to fucking learn it.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a game you just... I couldn't. And this is reality. When I bought the game, I needed to have my friends on Discord with me telling me what to do to get into a game to fucking play.
Yeah.
This is not like any other game, right? There's checkers, and then there's chess, and then there's Tarkov, which is on like another level. You can learn chess and figure it out pretty quickly if you know the rules of what each piece can do. But then there's like another level of it, which is what Tarkov is. And I think that's what makes it so special. It's quite literally one of a kind. But yet it's got enough similarities to your regular shooters. It's got a little bit of COD in there. It's got a little bit of like Rainbow Six, or a little bit of sprinkled of some of the of Squad and games like that. But it takes it to a whole nother level. So I don't think that it's becoming redundant, or it's becoming like, bro, we get it. You want it to be real, but I don't need to like go through this bag and do the same shit. But I think that's what makes it really something special, is having to do all that. Can you withstand all those things? Can you be in the trenches like everybody else and be in that playground? Because only the special can outlast and really commit to this game. And that's what makes it competitive to the 10th degree. And then also there's a level of, I think at the end of the day, if I was like a full-time player and I got really good, I think there would be a level of respect within players where it's like, holy shit, that dude just fucking ripped me a new asshole.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm more pissed off that I'm about to lose my shit, but that was a fucking nice player. That was like, damn, dude, what the fuck? I feel like instead of just raging like, fuck this kid, blah, 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 because you know what it's like. And to take somebody down and get $1 million worth of shit or whatever, man, and you know what it takes to get that stuff, I think that's what really makes it special. And the majority of games out there aren't. Now, you're right. Some games are swaying a little bit more into the more realism, and I think it's because graphically, things are getting more real. So I think that with the times, things aren't as cartoony.
Yeah.
People want, you got such good voice actors or motion capture where it's so real that if you start to have really cartoony, weird thing like video game tropes, it starts to take away from literally the realism of the game and what they've worked so hard to do. But there is a line. There is a line.
Yeah.
And I think Red Dead Redemption is like that good line where there is some of the fast things and things that you can do and rush through, but then it also needs to slow down because you need to be reminded that you are playing a Western game and shit goes slow. If you want to get it, there is no like fast traveling in a car. You got to find a horse, get on a horse, and gallop your fucking ass to another place, right? So I think they do that well, and I think Tarkov does it exceptionally well for the game, and I think the harder the better for that. Personally, I think just fucking go. There's 10, go to 15.
So I agree with the vast majority of what you said. Where I start to lose it is where, and when I use the word redundant, is when a game has you do something, but there doesn't seem to be, either that doesn't seem to be, or there just flat out isn't a real purpose for why it's there. For example, that's why I use searching the bags in Tarkov on the map. I didn't mean that was bad. What I meant was I was not weirded out by, but like I was confused by the decision where once you search through a bag, items will appear once you search through the bag. And then, like you said, it's like the who's that Pokemon thing, right?
Yeah.
But you don't even really get the who's that Pokemon thing if you just go to the traders outside and in the menu and you just spend 10 minutes middle mouse clicking every item in all the traders. And then when you go into the next raid, you basically 90% of the items, you already know what they are.
Yeah.
So my line is purpose.
Yeah.
I love when games can give me realism, especially like you said. I like the point you made about the graphical thing, where graphics are getting so good and the voice acting is getting so good, especially in things like Red Dead Redemption, where they've got boatloads of fucking money to put behind the shit, right? Where there's a level of expectation that a player has because it looks so good and it sounds so good, then it makes you believe that you should be able to do something with a certain amount of realism, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. But it has to have, for me, it has to have purpose or it feels redundant because, and then I get annoyed by it. So again, I'll use Red Dead Redemption as an example. So, I understand that there can be a purpose to doing the animal skinning. And I love that they have a super detailed animation for skinning the animal. But in a single-player game where there's no other person going to just suddenly roll up on your ass and kill you while you're in the middle of skinning an animal, and you've skinned 300 animals before this one,
Unless you're online.
then but like in the grand scheme of just Red Dead Redemption as the single-player campaign, like what people are buying the game largely for, right?
Well,
I promise you, 90% single-player, 10% multiplayer. They might make more money on the 10%, but 90% of people are buying Red Dead Redemption for the campaign, the single player campaign.
Yeah.
I don't need to see that animation every time. There's no purpose to me seeing the animation. There is a purpose to me skinning the animal, and give me the option. Do I want to sit here and watch this exact same animation? If it was a slightly different animation every time, like almost okay. But I'm watching the exact same animation for the 100th time, the 200th time that I've skinned all these goddamn animals, and there's no purpose for the animation to be there after you've watched it unless you want to watch the animation, you want to do that. It's like fast travel in games. I think that fast travel in games, especially in games like The Elder Scrolls or Grand Theft Auto or things with massive worlds, is incredibly useful because it's not a problem to give a player a choice. Let's say in Grand Theft Auto, fast travel would be a taxi. You hop in a taxi, you choose where you want to go, you're there. Sometimes you take it even a step further in some of those games, and you can watch the taxi ride from point A to point B for those who want to be super fucking into it. Same people that follow the traffic signs whenever they're driving around in Grand Theft Auto, same idea. You have the option. But if you're going to force the player's hand, there better be, in my opinion, there needs to be a really good reason and purpose for everything that you do. Because if you don't, then what that runs the risk of is making the game feel like you're doing chores instead of playing a game. It's why a lot of people...
But you are doing chores, though. Like, if you're skinning stuff, it's a chore. It's not supposed to really be... it's not supposed to be, you're out hunting. It's a slow hunt. You spent a lot of time to get it. To sit down and have a skin animation that lasts 10 seconds, it's not the... I see where you're coming from. I played, like, only 5 hours of Red Dead, and I've skinned a fair amount of stuff. I never once really thought, like... It's like in Monster...
You get 60 hours deep,
it's the same thing in Monster Hunter, right? When I was playing Monster Hunter...
You can skip those.
Oh, okay. I was just doing them, and I didn't really... It didn't bother. Like, when I was going through the shit, and you kill a monster, and then you do
So
the...
in Monster Hunter, you're skinning, unless it's a raid with just at the very end, and you're in an enclosed area.
Yeah.
There's multiple things. One, you have a certain amount of time that you can carve something.
Yeah.
2 is what you're carving is randomized. You're not always going to get the same shit every time. And 3, you can be in a situation where you're trying to carve, but you might be getting attacked from something else at the same time. There's an element of danger there.
For sure.
Unless, again, you're in an end raid where you're in an enclosed room and there's only the fucking thing to be carved.
Yeah.
So there's purpose.
Yeah.
To that.
I get it.
Right?
I see. Listen. I'm not.
And so I'm not trying to make the argument that it is.
I think with
100%
with Tarkov,
too far.
when you can go into the thing and scroll through the items and then it won't be black anymore. I think their mindset behind that might be like, hey, we want you to identify the item first. Like, we want you as the player to physically see an item.
Yes.
And then when you see it in the game, you'll no longer have to identify the item anymore because you're now aware of what you saw and you've looked at it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's their reasoning for that.
Personally, in Tarkov, I love the concept of that.
Yeah.
Because if you were rooting through a bag out and you're doing this,
you need to look through it. Yeah.
You need to at least take 2 seconds to look at what you're really fucking looking at, right?
Yeah.
I like that aspect.
Yeah.
What I'd prefer is if you couldn't go to the trader and just fucking blanket the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because now it basically makes that mechanic redundant.
Yeah.
If you got rid of the trader and then when you go into a raid and you're picking stuff up and you don't know what it is and you have to, then that makes it so it's like you're a new character. You don't know what you're fucking looking at. You're going out into this raid. You need to learn everything.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. And they give you experience for it too. So their thought process is it's an experience for your character. We'll give you experience to do it.
Yeah.
So there's a purpose
to
doing it.
But the good thing about it is in a game like that, it is high octane, and you having to look through that bag is you are literally going, fuck.
No, I
need
that.
to hurry the fuck up.
Yeah. But if you already know what everything is in the early game, then it gets rid of it. And then eventually it becomes how fast can you loot in Tarkov?
Exactly.
And that's a whole different fucking animal. Yeah. Watching somebody loot fast in that game is like mind-numbing.
Yeah.
I'm opening up a bag. There's like a
You'll
fucking
get used to it.
There's like a can of fish and some bullets, and I'm going,
which pouch do I put this in? Can I put it in there?
Bullets? Can I? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm realizing I'm standing up out in the open, and like fucking like fans all around me. So I like it. It's just, for me, it's a point of purpose, because if there's purpose to it, then I don't feel like it's a chore.
I get it. Yeah, sometimes games just aren't perfect. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just.
Well, that's why I brought it up. Is that sometimes it feels like games are forcing it just to say that they're being
realistic,
immersive.
Yeah,
it's immersive to wash your ass crack every time you have a shit in Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I think sometimes so
that you don't smell and characters look at you the right way. Like I don't want to wipe my own ass.
I think some people just sit at the table and go, "How can we make this more real?" And they just start throwing things
and they put it in,
and
that's how you end up with weird mechanics.